South Africa FLEAP 2019. I couldn't have asked for this trip to be with more amazing people. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started. This trip begins with an 8-hour layover in London. We decided to take a train into the city so that we could explore.
To go into London. How do you feel? Yeah.
Melanie, are you excited?
Hell yeah!
While in the city, we decided to take a red bus tour around town. We got to see a lot of amazing buildings and monuments, and it really allowed for us to explore London without needing more than our layover to get a good idea of what the city was about. After this tour, it was officially time for us to get on our flight to Johannesburg, South Africa.
South Africa. Let's go. Melanie, are you ready? Are you guys ready?
So ready.
Holly, are you ready?
After an 11-hour flight, we officially made it to our first destination, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Well, we made it. We're here.
Hey, Alex.
Alex. We made it.
We did it.
We arrived at where we would be staying for a few days and quickly unpacked our things and got ready to head to our first educational stop. Our first stop was meeting with Rooney International Visiting Scholars in South Africa, where we listened to their thesis presentations about different bioethics topics. While driving to our destinations in South Africa, it was not uncommon to see barrios like this for miles on end. These little shacks where people would live with very little electricity, running water, and the normal necessities that we take for granted in the US. It really puts into perspective for me how lucky we are to be living where we are and the opportunities that we're given in the United States. The first hospital we visited was the Chris Hani Bargawanath Academic Hospital. This hospital has over 2,000 beds. This population of patients is almost unheard of in the United States. The hospital is separated by multiple buildings based off unit. Therefore, different patient populations can be seen on different parts of the property. It surprised me that these hospitals were kept fairly open and we were able to be within 100 feet of patients. These buildings that you see here were lined with beds full of patients just to be able to accommodate for the amount of people they needed to treat. Before we left, we bought some snacks at the hospital cafe and got to try some different South African chips and cookies. This evening, we were able to experience a South African braai, which is another word for grilling. We had fish, chicken, and endless amounts of delicious sides that really gave an introduction into the South African food culture. Honestly, I have to say that one of my favorite things about this country that surprised me was their food. I absolutely loved it. One of my favorites was the chakalaka that I had at this restaurant. Like honestly, look how good this looks. Another one of my favorite things about this culture is the music. I felt like everywhere we went, people were comfortable singing and dancing and fully embracing their African culture.
Hey, son! What's up? Peace!
That was stuck his tongue out.
Hello!
Another one of my favorite places in Johannesburg, South Africa was the Kliptown Youth Center. Here we got to see what life was really like in the barrios and actually go inside one of the huts where people lived. The woman told us that 100 people would be forced into this small house just because it would be better than sleeping outside. Hello.
So we can fit in here 100 people were in this house.
100?
Yes, 100. We try and squeeze so that everyone is...
We also got to play with some amazing kiddos and give them some fruits. As you can see, I obviously fell in love with this cute little girl. We were also able to visit the Steve Biko Academic Hospital. Here, we were able to actually communicate with nurses on staff and talk to them about how it is to be a nurse in South Africa. Got to visit the Union buildings where there was this huge statue of Nelson Mandela. This property was absolutely beautiful, and I was so thankful that we got to see it as the sun set. To close our stay in Johannesburg, South Africa, we got to eat at this amazing restaurant called Black Bamboo. During this amazing dinner, we were able to listen to a presentation about the healthcare system in South Africa, as well as the struggles they face with HIV and AIDS. And before we knew it, it was time to head to Cape Town. Cape Town was absolutely beautiful. From the moment we stepped off the plane, we could see Table Mountain in front of us, and the views were absolutely breathtaking. And this is the view that we had from our balcony. Talk about beautiful. One of my favorite restaurants from the trip was the Africa Cafe. This restaurant consisted of meals that were brought in rotations to us, all different things, and fully embraced us in the African culture with even a little singing. Everything you see on this menu we were able to try at this restaurant, and we even got to get our faces painted. We certainly couldn't go to Cape Town without visiting Boulders Beach, where we got to see African penguins. After this free day, it was time to visit another hospital. We visited the Brooklyn Chest Hospital, which specializes in TB treatment and infectious disease.
Holler. Ain't getting TB today.
I was able to find some awesome souvenirs at the Green Market Square in Cape Town. The last hospital we visited was the Red Cross War Memorial Children's Hospital. This hospital functions as the end of the referral chain, so they see a lot of complex cases. With 272 beds, this hospital functions as the National Pediatric Liver Transplant Center, as well as the world's best traumatic brain injury center. And of course, we couldn't leave Cape Town without hiking Lion's Head. After this trek, we were able to swing on over to Table Mountain and see the top of the seventh wonder of the world. That mountain you see there is Lion's Head. That's what we hiked. While a little cloudy, Table Mountain was still able to produce some amazing views. Top of Table Mountain. It's amazing, and that's Lion's Head. Climbed it. On our last day in Cape Town, we visited Groot Constantia, the oldest winery in Cape Town. And when I tell you this place was beautiful, just look. Going to this wine and chocolate tasting was honestly the best ending to an amazing trip. Overall, this trip to South Africa was absolutely amazing. Hands down, Cape Town was the most beautiful place I've ever been, and clearly we were a little upset to have to leave. Thanks for all the amazing memories, South Africa. This isn't a goodbye, but a see you later.